Hello students and welcome to my channel Be Mathaholic. Today I am going to teach you chapter 6 lines and angles for class 9th. So all class 9 students, it's high time that you should understand the concepts of geometry. This is the first chapter related to geometry. So let's begin. In this chapter lines and angles, here we are going to have the introduction about what the geometry is all about. Then we will have basic terms and definitions of all the geometrical concepts. Then intersecting lines and non-intersecting lines. Since the chapter name is lines and angles, so we are going to express everything what the lines are all about. Then we will move to 6.4 article which says pairs of angles, followed by parallel lines and a transversal. Then lines parallel to the same line. So when these concepts are clear to all of you, it will be good because this concept is going to be there in every year. I mean, whenever you are going to study any maths topic related to geometry, the concepts is going to be helpful. So please make yourself free to watch this video and keep yourself free always. And of course the questions related on the same will be I'm sure you are going to make the questions equally correct when you are going to face the concepts and the things related to the topics very clear. So let's begin the video and let's begin with the topic here. Now let's talk about the basic terms and definitions at first. So I begin with the basic concept which says geometry usually begins with a dot. Every one of you must be aware of that. So dot means here we will talk about that is called as a point, right? So when we talk about point is something which is a dimensionless quantity. Geometry begins with a point. So it's a dimensionless quantity, it's a dimensionless term. So when we join so many points in a plane, right? So what do we get when we join so many points in a plane? Then what do we get, children? We get a line. So when all the points are joined, infinite number of points, or you can say there are infinite points lying in a plane. So when we join the number of points in a plane, then we get a line. So line has been marked in this manner. As you can see, this is an arrow. So on both the sides it can be extended. That's why the arrows are shown. That means it can be extended towards left hand side also and towards the right hand side also. Fine. Now on this line, let us make it more clear. I'll just make it a proper line for you all for your convenience, and then we are going to have different things related to line. So let us have it like this. It's an arrow on both the sides. Now this is a line, and in this, if I say I take now, since the arrows are showing that the line can be extended in both the ways infinitely, then say suppose if I consider any point on the line here, then this line will take the form of this way, and if that particular point is marked like this, I just make it like this, it will be an arrow here. So this point is like this. So let me name it as O point. Now this is called as a ray. So how we are going to define ray? Ray has one initial point. Either it is extended onto right hand side or it is extended towards the left hand side. So this is also a ray. Fine. Now this is a line, as I mentioned. Now on this line, if I take 2 points, now earlier I have taken 1 point, now I'll take 2 points onto this. Let it be A and B. Now these two A and B points, if I take it and if I draw it separately, and you can make it more easier, I'll just draw it a straight line. That would be better for every one of you. So let us make it in this manner. So let us name it as A and B. Now this part of a line taken out having a fixed length. Now this part AB has a fixed length or fixed magnitude. So this is called as line segment, right? So as you can see, what I started with is point, then followed by line. Then line, if we take 1 point onto it, then it is called as a ray. And if we take 2 points on the line, a part of line is being taken out, it is called as line segment. So please make yourself clear with the concepts of what the line segment and ray is all about. Now when we are defining or we write a line, what do? Usually this line AB is also being marked in this manner. if both the sides arrows are there, then it is called as line AB, and when we are defining it in this form of a ray, you will be writing it as AB and then make it like this. Similarly, if we are going to mark a line segment, it will be marked like this. Fine. But usually what do we do? Instead of using all these symbols, usually a line or a line segment is usually generally taken as AB only. Okay. Now that was about the point, line, ray and line segment. Now let's move further and find out what do we have it next. Next I would talk about collinear and non-collinear points. Non-collinear. Now these terminologies are always helpful. Please see to it that you understand the basic concepts. Collinear and non-collinear points. Now when 3 points are in a line, when 3 points, the point can be anywhere in the plane, right? The points can be anywhere, like this also and like this also. So when the points are marked like this, and when we are joining the set of points, more than 3 points if we are joining, then this will form a line. But when we are going to join these 3 points in this manner, what do we have, children? You can see it over here that 2 different figures are formed, and this part, this is always a line. So a line is formed. So when 3 points are in a line, so these 3 points, when they are in a line, they are called as collinear points. They are in a line, that's why they are called as collinear. So when these 3 points are not in a line, you can form a triangle or any shape can be formed. So they are called as non-collinear points. I hope the things are clear. So when 3 or more than 3 points, even a line can be formed with the 2 points also. It's not that. So 2 points can also form a line. So when 3 points are in a line, we can say the points are collinear, then they are called as non-collinear points. I hope it's clear. Now let's see. Now what do you see here? See, when we talk about ray, now I told you about line segment, line and ray. So when 2 rays, suppose this, let us take it as point O. So when we are taking this as point O, then OX and OY, let it be 2 rays. So when these 2 rays are joined with one common point O, then the measure of these 2 rays, they are also called as arms of the, they are also called as arms. So when OX and OY are connected with the point O, then the measure of in between 2 arms is termed as an angle. Please make sure this is how the angle is formed. In this also you can say it here, this is OX, this is OY, fine. So when these are formed, we can say the 2 arms can be, now these 2 arms can be, now if the arrow is showing it is moving anti-clockwise. So here this is forming a 90 degree, this is forming, this symbol is depicting a 90 degree angle. Fine. Now here you can say this is more than 90 degrees. So here an obtuse angle is formed, the types of angles you know, and in this when the ray is rotating anti-clockwise and finally it reaches, this is OX and this is OY, when you are rotating the arms, then this point OX and OY becomes straight. So this angle is termed as straight angle, right? Similarly, when the arms is rotated in this way and finally it reaches out to this, this will be a reflex angle. It is called as a reflex angle. So how the angle is formed, this I have defined, and when the angle is lesser than this, I mean you can mark it like this, that when the 2 arms are made in this direction, then this is an acute angle. An acute angle is formed. So as you can see, this is 90 degree, a right angle, this is also called as a right angle. Then this is more than 90, so it is called as obtuse. This is more than 90 but less than or equal to 180, so it is a straight angle. And then this is reflex. And one more thing over here, that when a ray is taking one complete rotation, here this complete set comes back to its original position, OX and OY, then this is called as complete angle. And this complete angle is of 360 degrees. So the angles are, you all are aware of these. So how this is how the geometry starts with. Let's watch out what we have in the next part. Now intersecting and non-intersecting lines. Here now we begin with now ray, line segments we are already dealt with. Now we come to intersecting and non-intersecting lines. Now children, I might put a question that when two lines are given in front of you, are being put in front of you, then you may have these two conditions where the lines may intersect at one point and here the lines may be parallel. So this is the case, they are termed as the intersecting lines here. It is called as an lines which are intersecting. And you know when two lines are intersecting, they intersect at one point which is point O. This point is unique. At one point only two lines intersect. Similarly, the two lines when they do not intersect, they can be in the position where we call them as parallel lines or non-intersecting lines. We can also call them non-intersecting lines. Fine. Now let's see what the connection of lines we have. Next is pair of angles. Now when we talk about lines, now lines can be aligned with each other in a different manner, right? So here we have OB, OA, these are the two rays, and this is OC, this is another line, you can call it, this is a ray OC, this is ray OB, and this is now here pair of angles. As you can see, now we will talk about lines and how the inclination and how the angles are being made up with the lines and what the condition and situations are created. So pair of angles, you can see here that one angle here is being shown as 30 degree and another is being put up as 60 degree. So here when these two angles are given in this manner where they have one common vertex, so these two are called as pair of angles, and these pair of angles are also termed as adjacent angles. They are also called as adjacent angles. Please remember the term adjacent to each other means it has a common vertex. So we can say AOC. Now this angle 60 degree will be written as angle AOC and this angle 30 degree will be marked as angle BOC. Now since they have a common vertex O and they are having a common arm OC, so we can say they are also called as adjacent angles. Likewise here also we can say these two are 60 and 80, they are also termed as adjacent angles. I hope the things are clear to every one of you. Okay, they are called as adjacent angles. Now here there is one more case I can say what two things are non-adjacent. We can say here you can take one more example children, that if I call angle AOB, now this angle AOB is this entire angle, right? And if I say angle AOC, this will be this angle. So are these two adjacent? No, these are not adjacent because the angles are on the arms OC and OB are on the same side of OA. So they will not be termed as adjacent angles. So please make sure these, the way they have written it over here, are termed as adjacent angles. They should have a common arm in between. Alright. Now as we say, let's see now this figure. Here two lines AB and CD are intersecting at each other. Okay. So pair of angles formed will be, now here you can say this is in fact these two are marked in this manner. So since they are opposite to each other and there is one intersecting point over here, so we can call them as vertically opposite angles. Vertically opposite angles. And children remember, vertically opposite angles are formed only when the two lines intersect each other at one point. So these are called as vertically opposite angle. Let me name it as angle 1, this is angle 2. Similarly, these two are also vertically opposite angles. In short, we call them as VOA, and let me name it as angle 3, and this is angle 4. So angle 1 will always be equal to angle 2. Similarly, angle 3 will always be equal to angle 4. Now, what is the reason behind being them equal? We will let us study about that also, that why these vertically opposite angles are always equal. So we'll talk about it, and let's see further what do we have. Okay. So one more thing is there which I want to highlight, children, that when we talk about lines, then there is a possibility that the arms, they come on and have a straight. Now see, when we have a line like this, okay, and when we are marking the lines, Then there is another line, say suppose this is another line, so let it be OX and OY. So when this straight line makes a straight angle, so when I say it has a common arm, let us OZ is a common arm, say suppose if this is A and this is angle B, then children please see that this is having a common arm OZ, and A and B, they are formed on the adjacent angles, they are on the straight line. So they are also called as linear pairs. Now this is an important part. These are also called as linear pairs. Now linear pairs, and this is forming a complete straight angle. So straight angle is of 180 degree. So we can call it in short as that angle A plus angle B is equal to 180 degrees. Fine. So this is a major part, and you will face definitely. So angle forms on the straight line are called as linear pairs. If two angles are there, then they will call it pairs, and linear, since they are on the straight line, that's why a linear word has come, and some of the angles will always be 180 degree. Now the answer will come for this question, why angle 1 and angle 2 are same. Now as you can see here children, that these two, this is a straight line, and here it is being marked here as, now this is forming a linear pair, similarly this is forming a linear pair, this is forming a linear pair, and this is forming a linear pair. So all these are linear pairs. So if I mark them, angle 1 plus angle 4 equals to 180 degree, 2 plus 3 is 180 degree, 1 plus 3 is 180, and 2 plus 4 is 180. So making the relation between all the angles, making it equal to 180 degree, we come to the conclusion that both the vertically opposite angles are equal to each other. This is how the concept goes on. Okay, I think you should try this your own, that how these angles are equal to each other. Next, parallel lines and transversal. Now again a very important concept here. Now as you can see in the figure here, that here the two lines are not parallel, they are a little bit non-parallel lines, but the concept goes with non-parallel lines also and parallel lines also. Now what is this? Now here usually the lines are marked with LMN, small alphabets of English letter, and this is also a line. So what will be the line, and which line is called as transversal? So you can see in the figure, they are non-parallel lines, they are not parallel to each other, but a third line is intersecting. So the definition of transversal says that when one line is intersecting two given lines at two different points, then this line can be called as a transversal. So here L will be called as a transversal line, right? When a line is intersecting two given lines at two different points, right, then two different points it is intersecting, so that means this is called as transversal. The example can be like this also, when we talk about two parallel lines, then this is L will be called as a transversal because it is intersecting at two different points. Fine, this is a very important topic here, and this distance is called as intercept. This is called as intercept. Fine, okay. So let's see, and here we will talk about the relation between the angles. You can see one line L and another line M, they both are intersecting lines. Similarly, the line L is intersecting with line N also, and it is intersecting with M also. Now intersecting at one point P, and here it is intersecting at point Q. Fine. So here let's see, let's highlight on the types of angles formed. So you can see they are, since I told you and we talked about vertically opposite angles, so just avoid looking at point line N, just go with the line L and M, the relation, they are intersecting each other. So angle 2 and 4, what will be the result children? They are vertically opposite angles. Similarly 1 and 3 are vertically opposite angles, so both of them are equal. Now since we have already talked about vertically opposite angles, let's talk about the nomenclature of these angles have been marked like this. Now what are they called as? Okay, so let's talk about, now first thing would be the corresponding angles. Now this is a very important topic, please remember. Here angle 1, corresponding angles. Now what are these? The corresponding angles are defined as one outside the intersecting point, and here angle 5. Similarly angle 2, if one is outside the line, the other will be inside it. 2 and 6. Similarly 7 and 3. Similarly 4 and 8. Now what do you see here? they are corresponding angles, and when you are going to measure them you will find that all are equal to each other. What have I said? The corresponding angles, they are on the same side of the line, same side of the transversal, means if one is on to left hand side, the 5 will be also on the left hand side, and one is inside the between the two lines, another will be in the exterior of it. So 1 and 5 will be equal to each other. Similarly 2 and 6 will be equal to each other, 3 and 7 will be equal to each other, and 4 and 8 will be equal to each other. So they are called as corresponding angles. Now what else we have? We have now the next set of angles which are equal to each other, and they are called as alternate interior angles. Now all of you must be aware of the term alternate. Alternate means one after the other. Now you can see alternate. Now let's talk about the angles which are interior. Interior means which are in the 3, 4, 5, 6. They are interior angles. Similarly 1, 2, 7 and 8 are exterior angles. Fine. So if we have interior angles, then we'll talk about 3. Now since they are called as alternate, so one is 3, another is 5. They are on either side of the transversal. So 3 and 5 both are equal to each other. Similarly 4 and 6 are of equal to each other. So they are equal to each other because they are on the interior, the first of all, and similarly they are on the alternate side of the transversal. So they are equal to each other. Similarly, we have alternate exterior angles. Now exterior angles are 1, 2, 8 and 7. Now by this time you must be having the clear thing that if one is in the exterior, then the alternate means onto the other side of the line, and that is 7. उनको exterior में भी रहना है और alternate भी होना है. So 1 is here, then it is to be paired with 7. So both are equal. Similarly 2 will be paired with 8. Okay. Now this is alternate exterior angles. As the name suggests, interior and exterior. Please see that you understand the concept. Interior means what and exterior means what. Now let's move ahead with another term, that is interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Now interior angles. Now there is one important concept here which goes that interior angles on the same side, and that concept says that interior angles on the same side of a transversal are supplementary. Means what? That angle 3 plus angle 6 is always equal to 180 degrees. Similarly, angle 4 plus angle 5 will always be 180 degree, the sum of these two angles. So they are also termed as co-interior angles. Co-interior angles, or interior angles on the same side are always supplementary. So same side of the supplementary means angle 4 and angle 5 and angle 3 and angle 6 are co-interior angles, and one more property says that their sum is always supplementary. Okay, if one is acute and other is obtuse, they will always be giving you the sum 180. Fine. But at what condition the sum is 180? This is also very important here. Okay. So sum is 180 when the lines are parallel to each other. Like if these two lines are non-parallel lines, we are not sure about it. But when we talk about two parallel lines, please see that the sum remains 180. The sum is always 180. Okay, because here you can say the lines are parallel. So accordingly, the condition will prevail. So this is how it goes. Now let's see what we have next. Lines parallel to the same line. Now it's very easy. You know, we have talked about the corresponding angles. Now you must have known by now that if three lines are parallel, now the condition is for parallel lines we often mark it and the arrows. Now say suppose L is parallel to M. For parallel, children, please see that we are notifying this with the two dots lines over here, which can say L is parallel to M. Now this is the symbol which is used. L is parallel to M. Similarly, we can write M is parallel to N. So the concept says lines parallel to the same line. So if two lines are parallel to each other, and suppose L is parallel to M and M is parallel to N, then this will implies L is parallel to N also. Means if two lines are parallel to each other and this is parallel to the third line, then all the three lines will be parallel to each other. And the proof says that since these two are corresponding angles and this is also corresponding to this, so these two will also be called as corresponding angles. Okay, so that's why they are parallel to each other. Now the axiom says that if lines are parallel, corresponding angles are equal, and if lines are parallel, corresponding, and the converse also exists. Okay, converse exists means what? That if the corresponding angles are equal, then the lines are parallel. So here, as you can see, this condition prevails for parallel lines also. Okay, So they are corresponding angles. So whatever the things they are there, it will be for parallel lines. So please make sure you are getting the lines. So usually you will deal with parallel lines also. So please see, because the questions are going to appear for that concept only. Okay. So this was about the parallel lines parallel to the same line. Now next we have, now since the concept is going on with the parallel lines, let's talk about few questions which are related to parallel lines. Now suppose this PQ and RS are two lines which are parallel to each other, and you might be asked the questions like this, that the figure is given in this manner and you might be asked to find out the angle, this one, find out this angle. So since it is there is a little bit of construction required. AB will be the constructed part over here. So draw a line parallel, since two lines are parallel to each other, so we are constructing a line which is parallel to these two lines. So okay, so as you can see here, the concept will be given like this. So here we have 135, and you know, I told you about that here MX will be considered as transversal. Similarly, My will also be considered as a transversal line between the two parallel lines. So when between the two parallel lines, if we are to find out this angle, this is, let it be X and let it be Y. So as you know that these are co-interior angles, or interior angles on the same side are supplementary, as I said. That means 135 degree plus X is equal to 180 degree. That will give you the value of X, that will be 180 degrees minus 135, which will be 45. Right. So this angle will be calculated as 45 degree. Now this is one concept, children. Now if you are to find out this angle, then we know that this angle and this angle are termed as alternate interior angles, because they are in the interior, and of course they are on the either side of the transversal. So if this is 135, this will also be 135 degrees. Fine. Similarly, this is 40 and this is also alternate. So directly you can write this angle as 40 degree without any problem. And total angle, if you are to ask, then 45 plus 40, this X plus Y will give you 85 degree angle. Okay. This is how it can be calculated. Similarly, it is also forming a linear pair. You can see the concept. These are on the straight lines. So this is forming a linear pair. So if this is 45, this can be calculated as 135 using the concept of linear pair of angles. So this is how things can be found out, and the angles can also be, here also the linear pair is formed. So if this is 40, this angle will be 140, like this, and you can see the concept interior angles on the same side. So many angles, so many concepts of parallel lines and transversal will be helpful in finding out the respective angles. I hope the concepts of the various concepts are clear to every one of you. And this, all the topics which I have covered has exercises in NCERT. So if you are clear with the concepts, I think you will be able to do the questions as well. So wishing you all the best, children, and please like and subscribe my channel if you like it. For more videos, I am going to post it for all the classes. Thank you so much.